Hello, my name is Kate. Welcome to my channel and welcome back if you have been here before. Today I want to talk about trends from Renaissance fashion we need to bring back, because I find Renaissance fashion very intriguing and I think a lot of these things could potentially come back and already have come back in some capacity. But I just want to talk about them because I find them so beautiful, these trends. So the first one, let's just get started. The first one is chemises. So chemises, they're usually white peasant style gowns or blouses that were worn under dresses and corsets, a loose, lightweight undergarment, or standalone dress. It could be a standalone dress nowadays if you were to wear it. Back then it would have been obscene, but today you can kind of wear whatever you want. So that's the wonderful thing about modern society. One of the only wonderful things. No, I'm just kidding. But they're worn next to the skin to protect the outer layer from getting dirty. And they're made from natural fabrics like cotton or linen. And they feature a wide, often billowy sleeve and a versatile neckline like square or drawstring for styling under gowns as a peasant top. We all wear little peasant tops, or at least I do. But what about a chemise to wear under all your clothing? Because it's practical, it keeps the overlayer of the clothing clean. So the people in the Renaissance knew what they were doing because they didn't have modern day laundry. So they had to keep the outer layer relatively clean for those standards of that time period. It's very cute when you wear it underneath or just as its own. It adds a little bit of ruffle and shape to an otherwise plain outfit, and it's cooling because it's linen, right? If you wear the right materials, a cotton chemise made of linen or in the summer, it has this like maiden in the tower aesthetic that is really delicate and sweet, and I always want to dress like a milkmaid as much as possible because I have the features of a milkmaid. So here's how to style it. In wintertime, you could wear it with a vest or a pinafore over top or overalls over top with a belt that cinches in the waist. And then in the summertime, you could wear it just as a dress or blouse on its own with capris and a ballet flats and a cute little basket, and it would be so Jane Birkin. So that is how to style chemises. Now the next trend is something that was in popular fashion about a few years ago, which is corsets, a close-fitting undergarment meant to enclose the torso and provide shape and support to the body. They were meant kind of to be like bras for olden times. The bodice is most often stiffened with boning and cross-laced and worn over a blouse or chemise like we just talked about. Commonly front-laced in peasant dress and side-laced or black-laced for the upper classes. So I know we just had the corset trend, but people style them with jeans and kitten heels, and I wasn't really into that. So what I'm envisioning is this. In winter, you could wear it with a wool kilt and a thick belt and black knee-high boots, and it would be so like Scottish inspired, like Highlander inspired. And in the summer, you could wear it with a contrasting colored silk dress, and it could be over top, and it could be a very special occasion look, like so stunning. So that is how you can style a corset. And I was doing research about bras and corsets, and I found this amazing Wikipedia article about the history of cleavage. And it was really a fun read. If you want to look that up, you should. Because in many European societies between the Renaissance and the 19th century, wearing low-cut dresses that exposed breasts was much more acceptable than it was in the early 21st century. Bare female legs, ankles, and shoulders were considered to be more risque than exposed breasts. So in aristocratic and upper class circles, the display of breasts was at time regarded as a status symbol, a sign of beauty, wealth, and social position, which is very interesting to me. I don't know if it's interesting to you, but there you go. So my next Sorry, that was such a random sidetrack. The next trend is leg-of-mutton sleeves. A sleeve that has a lot of fullness around the shoulder and bicep, but is fitted around the forearm and wrist, which is kind of like what I'm wearing now, but usually there would be like a cinching right here as well. But you know, I'm doing what I can. This is my most Renaissance style top, I think. So these are so dramatic and fun. They could easily come back since the puff sleeve has been literally a macro trend for, I don't know, the past 10 years. I think it could be especially cute in a cardigan form, the mutton sleeves. You can search for Austrian embroidered cardigans on Etsy, which I talked about in my previous video about trends that I want to happen in winter 2026. And there's hundreds of leg-of-mutton sleeve cardigans with the most gorgeous embroidery, and they were really in style in the 1940s, but I think they should definitely come back. Many French girls like Jeanne Damas and Camille have been seen wearing them, so I think this one could be happening already. And to style these in winter, a leg-of-mutton sleeved cardigan with a frilly blouse underneath, jeans and boots. And in the summer, you could wear one of those leg-of-mutton sleeve tops with a long flowing skirt and espadrilles, and that would be very cute. So the next trend is a hairnet or Juliet cap or snood. They're called all of those things. So a snood hairnet headdress, there are two types. The long gone Scottish snood was a circlet made of ribbon made by young Scottish women as a symbol of chastity. The other type was intended to hold the hair in a cloth or headnet-like hat. In the most common form, the headgear resembles a close-fitting hood worn over the back of the head. And it's similar to a hairnet, but they have a looser fit and are usually more ornate and have pearls or ribbons or some kind of decorative detail. I know Cozy Kitsune on Instagram has a tutorial of how to make one of these Juliet caps, and it's fabulous. She's so creative. Please check her out. How I would style them is in winter, I'd style them with all my hair in the snood besides face feigning pieces so that you don't just look like an egg. And then I'd wear a pretty blouse with long flowing sleeves, a necklace stack, and a ruffly skirt with knee-high boots. And in summer, I'd style it with my hair half up, half down, and with face framing bits, and in a long flowing dress with ballet flats and maybe my basket. I know it's cliche, but I always wear my basket in the summertime. Even in the winter time, I just love my basket. So it's simple and effective and very pretty. So the next trend is a Medici collar, which is a stiff fan-shaped pleated collar open at the front. These would be so much fun. They are a little insane, such a statement. They could quickly go from Renaissance to Yzma from Emperor's New Groove. But they are more of a dressing up kind of fashion piece, not just a casual out the door type of piece. How I would style them in the winter is a Medici collar with a long sparkling gown with a train preferably, with long gloves and shoes with like pearls on them and a vintage fur coat. Not a real fur coat. Well, not a new fur coat, like a vintage one. And then in summer, you could wear a silk dress with lace trim and puff sleeves and a lace Medici collar with ribbon lace-up heels. I think that would be so pretty. And the next trend is chainmail. And I know that Fiona Apple and Kate Bush, both singers, have done chainmail inspired photo shoots, and I think that is so badass and cool. So I'm very inspired by that, and I think that would be fun to maybe have a purse of chainmail or some kind of necklace of chainmail or a collar or something. That would be a fun, cool thing to do. And I know you could get crochet looking chainmail, like chainmail that is actually crochet, which is much lighter and less heavy to wear, which is more accessible. And it's also just a fun project you could make. So maybe make yourself a crochet chainmail hood or something. And then the final trend is like hairstyles with ornate detailing and long flowing locks with flowers in them and ribbons and braids, all of these beautiful ideas that could just make you look like a Renaissance princess. And that would be just my dream. I actually did my hair with a ribbon and braids today. I know you can't really see it because it's in the back of my head, but it's so fun to do that hairstyle. It's one of my favorite hairstyles to do. So those are my trends that we should bring back from Renaissance fashion. I hope you enjoyed. If you'd like me to style you, I do styling services. You can look at them in the description box below. And if you want to check out my poetry collections, that would be wonderful. Enough of my plugging. Thank you for watching. And please subscribe if you'd like this video. Thank you.